in today's video I wanted to show you how I did this trendy fall design. It's actually pretty simple. All you have to do is follow a few steps. But before we start, remember that it's so important to always prep the nails, and I already done that. So now I'm gonna put the form and I'm gonna close it off a lot more than usual, because in today's video I'm gonna be doing coffin shaped nails. Start building up this nail. I'm gonna put the first bead between the natural nail and the form, and slowly I'm gonna use my brush and I'm gonna do little taps on the acrylic until I drag it down. Like you guys can tell, for today's video I'm gonna be doing pretty long nails. They're gonna be about even more than XL size. In this form, the size is number 9. Now that I have the shape done, I'm gonna apply the last bead, and here what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna make sure that everything is well covered. And of course, I'm gonna apply some pressure on the sides. You guys know that what this does is that makes your nail look more natural and have more of a C shape. You guys apply the form, something that you have to make sure is that it has to be completely symmetrical, because once you start applying the acrylic, what can happen is that your nail can end up looking crooked, and trust me, that's really hard to fix. So what I do is that I make sure that it's 100% right. And now I'm gonna keep building this coffin shaped nail. And once I have that done, I'm gonna apply the last acrylic bead. And here what I do is that first I connect it with what I've already done, and then I'm gonna use my brush and I'm gonna push it upwards until it gets near the cuticle. Something that you guys have to remember is that it's so important to not touch the cuticle or the skin, because what this is gonna do is that it's gonna cause lifting and it can make your nail fall off. When we do coffin nails, something that is so important is that the sides have to be straight. And a little tip that I have for you guys is to use the lines of the form as a guide, because in that way you know where you have to be applying the acrylic, and it's going to be much easier to be able to create this shape. Otherwise, it can be a little bit confusing and sometimes it doesn't end up looking the way that we want it to look. Also, you guys know that acrylic dries out by itself, so that means that it's not only gonna dry on the nail, but it can possibly dry on the brush. And that's happened to me before, and it completely ruined my brush. So what I do is that I keep a paper on the side and I keep cleaning it with monomer. And now onto the last nail. First, I'm gonna apply the form and I'm gonna close it off a lot more than usual. And now I'm gonna start applying the acrylic. I'm gonna put the first bead between the natural nail and the form, and I'm gonna use my brush and I'm gonna do little taps on the acrylic until I drag it downwards, and slowly I'm gonna start building up this shape. To finish up, I'm gonna apply the last bead. First, I'm gonna connect it with what I've already done, and then I'm gonna use my brush and I'm gonna push the acrylic upwards until it gets near the cuticle. And of course, I'm gonna apply some pressure on the sides. This step is so important, so make sure that you don't miss it. And this is how these acrylic nails look like. Like you guys can tell, they're not perfect, but that's why I always say that filing is one of the most important steps. When I file nails, I like to start by filing the sides. And since these are coffin shape, I'm gonna put the file completely straight, and I'm gonna follow the natural shape that the coffin has. And this is how the nails look like after filing the sides. Like you guys can tell, they look a lot more sharp. Now I'm gonna start filing the surface, and I like to use my e-file for that. But if you guys want to, you can use a regular one. And here what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna file down these nails until they're pretty thin. And also I'm gonna make sure that there's no bumps left behind. This is how the nails ended up looking. Now we can go ahead and do the design. Before we start, I recommend you to clean up the nails, because after filing, there's always gonna be some dust left behind. Today's tutorial, so we can do this trendy design. First, I'm gonna get this brown gel polish that has this type of reddish undertone. And here what I'm gonna try to do is make it transparent, so that's the reason why I'm gonna mix a little bit of this top coat. I feel like the whole effect is gonna look better this way. I recommend you to use a base color that has a reddish undertone because we're gonna keep adding colors and they're gonna be darker ones, so I feel like it's gonna look better this way. And here what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna apply it on top of this nail, and also I'm gonna make sure that it looks a little bit transparent, and you don't have to worry too much about how it looks because it looks better if it's kind of faded. And we're also going to cure this color. But the most important part of this effect is to add a little bit of this top coat. The only difference here is that we're not going to cure the top coat because this is going to serve us as a base to mix all of the colors and try to like fade them away. It's going to look a lot better this way. And what I'm gonna do to create this design is that I'm gonna use this brown gel polish that I actually mixed with a little bit of top coat. And I'm gonna use this thin nail art brush, and I'm gonna start making little spots everywhere. Like you guys can tell, some of the spots are gonna be bigger, some are gonna be smaller. I'm not thinking too much about where I'm applying it. I'm just kind of doing it randomly. I feel like it looks more realistic this way. But the whole point is that we're not gonna cure any of it because we need them to mix together. And now that I have the brown done, I'm going to start applying a little bit of this black gel polish that I also mix with top coat because I want everything to look transparent. And what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna apply it near the brown. I'm just going to put a tiny bit of it. I don't want to add too much. And once I'm done creating this effect is when I'm going to cure everything. And this time I'm gonna cure this nail for 60 seconds because I want everything to be completely crystallized. Well, moving on to the third nail. Here I'm also going to start with the base color, the same one that I used earlier, the brownish reddish gel polish. And I'm gonna apply it on top of all of the nail. And this is the time where we're gonna be curing it for 30 seconds. Now I'm gonna start applying the top coat. When you guys do this, I recommend you to add quite a bit because remember, we need this base to mix everything together. Otherwise, it's going to be really hard to create this effect. And moving on, I'm gonna start applying the brown gel polish kind of randomly, exactly like I've been doing before. I'm gonna try to make this nail be a little bit different. I don't want it to look the same as the first one. And now that I'm done with the brown, I'm gonna apply a little bit of this black gel polish. What this is gonna do is that it's going to add contrast and it's going to make the whole design look better. And of course, I'm gonna cure everything for 60 seconds. And this is how these two nails look like. I felt like it looked a little bit too simple, so I'm gonna be adding a little bit of this gold. And you guys know that when we cure nails, there's usually a sticky layer, so that's the reason why they're not falling off, and we're gonna use that sticky layer as glue. And I'm gonna be applying it randomly wherever I think it looks great. And to seal everything and make sure that the gold lasts, I'm going to add another layer of the same top coat, and this is going to protect everything. I'm gonna be curing it for 60 seconds. This is how they look like. I think that adding gold details like this makes the whole design look better. Now moving on to the last two nails, I'm still going to use the same base color, the same brownish reddish gel polish, but this time it's going to be a little bit different because I don't know if you guys can tell. I'm only going to add it on the middle of the nail because I wanted these two to look a little bit more unique. And once I'm done adding all of the gel polish, I'm gonna cure everything for about 30 seconds, just like I done earlier. And this is how they look like. Now moving on to create the design, we're gonna have to add once again a little bit of top coat, but this time only on the middle of the nail. We're not gonna add any type of top coat on the sides because we're gonna do something different. I'm gonna tell you in just a little bit. I'm gonna start using the brown gel polish, and I'm gonna start creating these spots all around. I'm still gonna do it randomly, but I'm gonna try not to pass the line because I don't want it to go on the sides. And I'm still not gonna cure it. I'm gonna make sure that all of the colors mix before I do that. Remember that that's the key to make this whole design. We have to wait until all of the colors are added before we cure it. And to finish up, of course, I'm gonna apply a little bit of this black gel polish all around. And this is how the nails ended up looking after curing it for 1 minute. Now moving on, I'm gonna do the sides of these two nails. Here, what I'm gonna put is this neutral gel polish. Like you guys can tell, it's pretty light. I feel like this type of colors are really easy to mix with others. And once I'm done applying it on all of the sides, I'm gonna cure everything for about 30 seconds. That's how the nails look like after adding the neutral gel polish, but something different that I wanted to do is that I wanted it to be matte. So that's the reason why I chose this top coat, because it ends up leaving the nails matte. If you guys don't like this, you obviously don't have to do it, but I feel like mixing shiny and matte in designs makes everything look way better. And to finish up, I wanted to add a little bit of color because I feel like it looks too neutral. So I'm gonna be using this yellow gel paint, and what I'm gonna do is 2 lines in the middle of each nail, and then I'm gonna cure everything for about 60 seconds. And this is how the design ended up looking. I feel like it wasn't too hard because it's a pretty abstract design. All you have to do is mix the colors. I hope that you guys liked this tutorial. If you did, please subscribe to my channel and like this video. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!